I've been hearing all over the place that we are in a housing bubble. Whether it's on the news, whether it's on Facebook, whether somebody's asking me about it, it's coming from every direction. Do you think we're in a housing bubble? Stay tuned and we'll find out. Hey everybody, Jason Veenstra here with the Veenstra Real Estate Team, brokered by eXp Realty. And everywhere you turn these days, it feels like we're getting hit with media and people talking about being in a housing bubble. Well, I wanted to set the record straight and share 3 charts with you that explain that we're not in a housing bubble after all, and why this is so different than it was in 2005, 2006. So back in 2006, nearly everybody could qualify for a mortgage, or at least it felt that way. There's a number called the Mortgage Credit Availability Index, which actually measures how easy it is to get a mortgage. Now, the higher that number, the easier it is to get a mortgage. From 2004 to 2006, that number nearly doubled to close to 900. That number now stands at about 130, so it's not nearly as easy as it was to get a mortgage. Take a look at this chart. It shows how many buyers were able to originate loans with credit scores less than a 620, and you will see such a significant difference between 2006 and 2020. Now, the second point I wanted to make to you is that homeowners these days are not using their houses virtually like ATMs like they were back in 2005, 2006. During the housing boom, home prices were skyrocketing and homeowners were taking out refinance loans on their properties. Well, as soon as those values started to drop, a lot of buyers and a lot of homeowners got into trouble because their homes were worth less than the money that they had loaned on them. Take a look at this chart and see how many cash out refinances are happening now compared to 2006. We're at nearly half of the cash out refinances, which means that homeowners are being a lot more cautious with the money and the equity they have in their home. Now, finally, we get to what is the real root cause of the housing boom that we are experiencing right now. And simply put, it comes down to supply and demand. There's huge demand right now because interest rates are extremely low. And honestly, there's a lot of millennials who are trying to get into the housing market. But there's also a huge shortage of homes. Back in 2006, there was about a 7-month supply of inventory. Well, right now, we're sitting at less than 2 months supply of inventory. And a huge reason for that is the fact that builders in the early 2000s were building a lot more homes than were actually necessary at the time. Well, when the housing crisis hit and the Great Recession hit, those builders pulled way back on the amount of homes that they were building. And since that time, they have built fewer than half the homes in this past decade, 2010 to 2020, than they did in the 2000 to 2010 decade. Because of that, we simply don't have the number of homes that we need in order to keep a more balanced supply and demand. So what's the bottom line? Bill McBride, the author of the prestigious Calculated Risks blog, actually predicted the housing crisis in 2005. Listen to what he has to say now about our current housing market. It's not clear at all to me that things are going to slow down significantly in the near future. In 2005, I had a strong sense that the hot market would turn and that when it turned, things would get very ugly. Today, I don't have that sense at all because all of the fundamentals are there. Demand will be high for a while because millennials need houses. Prices will keep rising for a while because inventory is so low. So as you can see, the current housing market is totally different than what we experienced in 2005, 2006, and the few years after that. Obviously, this is a tough market, but that doesn't mean it's a housing bubble. If you have more questions about the current market that we're in, or maybe where you fall into the current market, whether you're looking to buy or looking to sell, give me a call at 269-350-5514. I'd love to have a conversation with you and see how we can best serve you. Have a great day and stay safe.